Okay, biogas is pretty unique as an industry because it does two things. Firstly, it treats lots of waste, sewage, food waste, animal waste, farm waste, and it makes a product out of it. No other industry does that. And certainly the gas and the oil industries do not do that. So on the one hand, biogas gives you the solutions to treating a lot of waste, and on the other hand, it is producing energy which is renewable and which is clean. That's why we need to support it. Biogas, if you go on the World Biogas Association's website, you will see how the reports we have issued on biogas and the role of biogas in sustainable development, the role of biogas in climate change, and you will see that biogas has an extraordinarily large potential in reducing those emissions. We estimate that were we to treat all the biogenic and biodegradable waste we have around the world and make biogas out of it, we could reduce global greenhouse gas emissions by somewhere in the region of 10 to 15%. Now, I don't know many other industries that can say they can do that. And this is why we need to support the biogas industry on a large scale here in Spain as well. The measures are multiple. Firstly, we live in a society where we don't understand, but I understand, and I'm telling you that we finance our petrol and our gas industries on an average 5 times more than we subsidize renewable energy. Spain in particular, but most European countries give huge subsidies to their gas and their petrol industries. Were we to simply change some of those subsidies around and give more of those subsidies to renewable energies, including biogas, but also wind and solar, we would drastically reduce our greenhouse gas emissions and drastically reduce the pollution which we get from oil and gas at the moment and stimulate these industries. But it's not just about money, it's also about connectivity. It's about being able to connect to the grid. It's also about selling the electricity and being able to do that. It's about having the right standards, and it's about having the right scale. Spain, like many other European countries, is financing its oil and gas industries and is denying finance to the renewable industries on the scale that renewable industries need. It's time to end the subsidies for fossil fuel industries. It's time to put the subsidies into renewable energy. China has nearly 25 million small-scale biogas installations, and these are installations which are at community level or small farm level, serving maybe 10 or 50 or 100 people, and all over the developing world there are these small-scale biogas units. We find them in Africa, we find them in Southeast Asia, and slowly but surely we're finding them in Latin America as well. Having said this, where you have big urban centers with lots of population, you have to have big-scale plants to treat all that waste. You can't treat the waste of 1 million or 2 million people on a small scale. You need industrial-sized plants to do that. Some of the biggest industrial-sized plants at the moment, for example, outside Milan, are treating more than 500,000 tons of food waste in just one plant each year. That gives you the size of the scale of the future. The technology is a universal technology which can be applied in any country around the world, and especially in Spain. Spain has a fantastic, rich agricultural sector and a lot of agricultural wastes. You have a population, everybody produces food waste, everybody produces sewage. And at the moment you are really not treating any of this material through anaerobic digestion to produce biogas. I think that Spain actually in Europe is one of the countries where this industry will grow most quickly in the next few years. You know, it's normal that when you have new technologies available that people don't know them and people have some doubts about them. But biogas, people forget that the Assyrians 4,000 years ago had the first biogas plants. And the Chinese 2,000 years ago were using biogas to heat their homes and to do their cooking. So this is a technology which is in essence extraordinarily simple and has been around for a long time. You can visit biogas installations all over Europe. Germany has more than 10,000. Italy has more than several thousand. Great Britain has 1,000. And these are plants which are operating on a daily basis, treating waste and producing energy from them. These are technologies which are now mature. They are at very large scale and also at small scale. And our association, together with Genia, will be very, very happy to organize trips to go and see some of these plants functioning and to assure you that this is technology which can be trusted. You know, when governments try to take lead out of petrol, you're too young to remember. Many of your viewers will be too young to remember that there was lead in petrol. And when I was a young man, we campaigned against that. And the petrol industry said that if you take lead out of petrol, the world will come to an end. The asbestos industry said if you stop using asbestos, all the buildings will catch fire. The cigarette industry said tobacco doesn't cause cancer. We can go on and on and on. Progress is about changing things continuously. And the biogas industry is one of those disruptive industries which forces changes, not just to the way in which you produce your energy, but to the way in which you treat millions and millions of tons of waste. And people sometimes have difficulty understanding that. All disruption is difficult to understand at some stage.